And we are live. Thank you to anyone tuning in and to anyone watching the VOD after this is over in the future. Thank you for watching as well. I am Vestborgr live here with Eohdorr. We are giving you coverage of the first Æsir 1v1, which is very exciting. Obviously, we haven't really held a big public 1v1 tourney yet on our server. We had the first Æsir Invitational a couple weeks back. Very successful, obviously a 5v5. Typical League of Legends tourney there, and now we're hosting a 1v1 tournament, which is really fun. Obviously, you don't get to see this too much in traditional League. It's kind of a rare event, so you see a lot of different things. You see different champion picks, completely different metas. It's not about, macro play or jungle play so much, unless you consider, manipulating the waves and stuff like that in the 1v1 tourney. But even that, it becomes so unique because, of course, we're doing this on Howling Abyss. It is a blind pick, and we're doing this with rules similar to the LCS, the All-Stars 1v1, where basically it's first blood, 100 CS, or first tower. So, just an update for you on the rules there. But I'm very excited to get into the matches. Actually, I'm not sure if the brackets have been seeded yet.
They have.
They have? Okay, excellent.
Yep.
Believe we have a tournament code as well. So, we'll go ahead and jump into the match here. Actually, don't know who this is. So, we'll see. So far, no one has joined the lobby here. But as we wait for that to happen, obviously we're both excited to jump into this 1v1. But one of the things I'm curious about is some of the meta we might see. Ao, do you have any insight? Are there any champions that are strong this patch or typically strong in 1v1s that you're expecting to see in this tournament or you want to keep an eye on?
I don't know. I don't really. I can't imagine that patches would be too influential when it comes to what you'd be taking into a 1v1. It's mostly just about the champions' actual mechanics that are what make them strong. There are a couple ways to play it due to the rules. CSing, 100 CS will be the win, so you may look for someone who can push the wave hard to pressure them under the tower. Or you may be looking for someone with long range to safely CS. Someone like Caitlyn or Sivir to fit those categories. Or maybe even Tristana. Or you're maybe looking for someone to get a really early cheesy kill, like a Darius or a Zed. Or maybe even a Yasuo. So you're really just trying to go for one win condition and satisfy it. If you're looking at someone who plans on playing aggressive, then I would expect something like that. Although they may not know that champion, so we may see something else of what they think that they can get an early kill on. So I would expect people to bring out champions such as Zed, Ezreal, Caitlyn, Yasuo, anyone else with some strong burst. Maybe even some like Syndra.
Definitely could be interesting to see. If you happen to see back about, let's see, would have been about a month and a half ago, we actually had a Yule 1v1 here in the WA server. Just an in-house tournament, basically. So it was all WA members and whatnot, but it was really fun to see, and one of the things that stuck out to me that I remember about that was the Caitlyn that you mentioned, becoming this power pick that basically it became sort of an insta-lock in some of the later rounds, which I thought was interesting to see because, I was contrasting that with the LCS, the All-Stars, and how in that I think Zoe was a strong pick, but we saw a lot of random stuff. I think there was a Nasus, some Varus once or twice, some Jhin, some Dravens. Definitely interesting to see. I know you mentioned the Sivir as well. To me, that's always such an interesting pick because of the spell shield. You've got that ability to play around a key ability that your opponent's kit might kind of revolve around. So, definitely interesting there. It will be interesting to see if either of those picks come in as well.
The beauty behind Caitlyn is that she's such a simple AD carry. Your Q can hurt the wave massively, but the range and the crit on every like 7th strike, it's really easy to play this champion. Place a trap on yourself in case you're dealing with someone with Zed, like Zed or Yasuo or so, to get hit by that trap. Play around and stay near your traps, and you're instantly safe. You have a net to get you out of danger. You could push the wave so hard that the tower begins to take damage to force them into action, or you could just get a lot of CS that'll force them into action. And when they're hesitant to pull that string to say, I'm gonna go in there, I'm gonna try to kill you, it allows you to get some really free poke. And it just ends up they're in a bad situation. There's nothing that they can do. They can either let themselves lose through CS, let themselves lose through tower, or try to get a kill when they know they can't win.
So it looks like we are actually ready to go. We're going to be watching Sparky up against Yasuo's Revenge. So this should be a fun matchup for sure. I'm not actually familiar with either player's champion pools, although one is curious if we might see a Yasuo in this game based on the usernames. You think Yasuo as a champion will see much in these 1v1s, Zayo? I mean, how good of a pick do you think that is going to be in this situation with the Howling Abyss, with the 100 CS, that type of thing?
Well, I have no doubt that he's a strong early game cheese champion that can definitely kill you easily. I think Yasuo's Revenge will be looking for it, but I don't expect to see him too much in the tournament, to be honest, because he's not a champion that's easy to cheese and win and get away with. It's a champion that is more so geared to those who have gotten enough mastery on the champion. Because you'll see those Yasuos running around trying to be slick and sly and focusing so much on using their E that they just end up dancing around for no reason and taking free harass. And then you'll see those Yasuos that just E in, Q you, take out a third of your health, E out, and then you can't do anything in return because they did it so quickly. So I wouldn't expect them to see him too much, but I wouldn't be surprised by it either.
Interesting. Appreciate the insight on that one there. Oh, looks like we are into Champion Select. I will bring that up for you guys real quick.
We have an update. One of the people have already won their matches.
Oh, wow.
Ulfald versus King Magic Ruler. We can't get to all the matches, unfortunately, because that would just take way too long. So I'll try to provide updates as the tournament progresses.
Excellent. Appreciate that very much. And did you have the winner for that matchup? Ulfald versus...
Ulfald has one, and Solite says I'm a little quiet. I'm not sure. My mic should be in the same volume it always is.
Should indeed. Hold on a second. Let me...
The Nautilus hover for Sparky.
I can turn you up a little bit here. Hopefully that'll help a bit.
But yeah, I'll try not to interrupt, but I'll also try to provide as snappy updates as I can.
Excellent. Sounds good. So we do see the Nautilus being hovered, like you said. Just 12 seconds left. Interesting. This is, of course, blind pick, so we could see mirror matchups. We could see things like that. Nautilus is locked in. 5 seconds left. Yasuo still picking. We'll see what he locks in here. And he's going to go with the Pantheon. Very interesting pick. We actually saw that as picked, I believe, at least once or twice in the LCS All Stars. So I'm definitely eager to see how that will perform here.
It was also picked at least once during the 1v1s that we had during Yule. Pantheon is an interesting decision because that shield allows him to sustain himself against ranged harass, like someone who would pick a Caitlyn, for example. And yet his level 1 and 2 are just so strong. His Q really forces you out of lane. And that's another thing that can really decide on what kind of champions people pick, is whomever they think are mid or top that are strong level 1, 2, and 3. Because if they've got a strong level 1, 2, and 3, like Darius does have a really strong cheese if you don't, plan for it appropriately, then you'll just immediately get deleted. And you'll wonder, how did that happen? And we do have another update. Surza versus Team Too Good. Team Too Good has claimed the victory and will move on to round 3.
Very interesting. Thanks for the update there, AO. Yeah, I am curious. I'm curious to see both these champions in action. I mean, one thing I wanna jump in on a little bit is summoner spells. We actually see Sparky taking the barrier on Nautilus, whereas Yasuo's got the ignite. Do you have any thoughts on that? I mean, are those kind of two of the best? Sometimes in the LCS, a lot of those matches, actually nobody would take flash. They just take something like exhaust and heal, ignite and heal, something like that. So. Are you expecting anything like that? Are you expecting to see a lot of flash barrier, flash ignite?
In my opinion, some people will just take flash because they're comfortable with it, and because there's almost no situation in a normal game where you would take anything but, where you wouldn't take flash, except for if you're playing someone like maybe Shaco or maybe Warwick. But flash is a non-aggressive spell when it comes to these 1v1s. It doesn't offer you kill pressure. It offers you a chance to chase down the enemy should they screw up and they try to flash away themselves, or they are getting out of range of your spells. But I think Exhaust does the same purpose, along with offering some powerful damage reduction to you, that I personally wouldn't say that Flash is worth taking. I would definitely say Ignite, Exhaust, and Barrier are the top 3 spells to be taking in this. Maybe Heal if someone is looking for the extra movement speed. But I would, due to the presence of Ignite, I would say Ignite, Barrier, and Exhaust would be common spells you'll see here. Probably a little bit more Ignite than Exhaust.
I see. Definitely should be interesting. And it looks like our spectator delay is up, so we are about to get into the action. So I guess we haven't really touched on the actual matchup itself. Do you think Nautilus or Pantheon has any particular early advantage here, one way or the other?
Well, certainly Pantheon having a powerful level 1 and 2. But I can't say I would put Nautilus ahead of that due to Nautilus not really having an oppressive level 1 or 2. But he is tanky, and it looks like he is going with Aftershock. So he's obviously gone into the Resolve tree. I would imagine Pantheon's level 1, 2 cheese won't work on this Nautilus, because Nautilus seems like a comfort pick for Sparky here. But I do expect the Pantheon to come out on top. And we do have, yet again, another update. We have Wolven versus Levine, and Levine goes to the quarterfinals to sit among Ulfald and Team Too Good. Here we are.
So we do see the keystones here, Aftershock and Airy. So it definitely will be interesting to see those. I know we see a lot of Airy on Pantheon.
Oh, hey, you can see it through Spectator now. That's amazing. Unless that's just specific to this game mode, in which case that's not as amazing.
For some reason on my screen, I'm seeing 2 Nautiluses and 2 Pantheons in the stats screen. If you press,
the bottom Nautilus is real, and the top Pantheon is real.
oh, good.
They're kind of breaking the rules here. They're kind of doing a 2v2, but considering the fact that the other 2 are just sitting in the gray screen simulator, we're not going to get too mad at them.
Okay, it looks like it's been fixed, at least save for the side displays, but... Alright. So, started CSing here, as we see with the items, Pantheon picking up the Guardian's Hammer and a Longsword, along with 2 pots, while Nautilus going with the Guardian's Horn, Boots, and 3 pots. So, see what happens here. Seem to be content to just farm minions there. 1 auto from Pantheon. And of course, this is Howling Abyss, so both champions start level 3, so champions have their whole kit save for their ultimates available, which definitely adds some interesting twists there. Check out CS numbers right now. Both players pretty even in CS. Nautilus taking a little bit of poke damage from Pantheon, as expected. Actually, Pantheon taking a bit of damage from the cannon minions. So, interesting there, of course, considering they made the change to the minions, wherein now, you know, something like a Pantheon Q still draws aggro from the minions, so it's a little harder to just sit back there and poke. Oh, we got a Q in from Nautilus. So you got the shield, Aftershock procs comes out. Ooh, a lot of damage from Pantheon, though. Looks like this is all in way better trade for Pantheon, and the Q in the area to finish it off. So Nautilus down below half health. Both champions burning pots. Actually, Nautilus picking up the health pack there. Health relic, sorry. Ooh, Q from Pantheon. Still poking Nautilus down. And another one. Now, the Guardian's Horn will help Nautilus sustain a little bit. Ooh, another Q from Pantheon. Pantheon's still at full health right now. Definitely a problematic matchup for Sparky's Nautilus right now. Both champions level 5. Nautilus goes in, but taking a lot of damage. Stun from Pantheon comes out. Shield from Nautilus. And Airy won't be able to break through that. But another trade where Pantheon takes almost no damage, and Nautilus taking a ton. 18 to 12 in CS now as well.
We do have another update. The match between D. Amari Mari and Torn Condom has concluded. Torn Condom taking the win. Moving on to round 2 to face off against Variable Sketch.
Excellent. Good to hear the update there. So Pantheon going back and topping off his health bar with the relic back behind his tower. Qs the Nautilus once more. Actually, Nautilus winning in CS right now with 20 to 19. Ooh, another Q from Pantheon. E comes out from Nautilus, but... Ooh, jump in, stuff from Pantheon. A lot of damage here. Ignite comes out. Barrier comes out from Nautilus. Ignite won't be enough to kill him. Nautilus actually hits level 7 just before Pantheon, who just picked it up now, but 24 to 20 in CS. Pantheon really showing off that strong 1v1 potential right now.
It's another thing to focus on when the match is on Howling Abyss is you don't have a chance to go back. You don't have a chance to go buy more items unless you get executed. It's all about sustaining yourself with the health relics on there, on the ground.
Ooh, Nautilus goes in here. He gets stunned.
Like that there. Will have a huge edge over the other.
A lot of damage come out. Nautilus shield helps. I'm actually probably a bit behind you. I'm at 444, 45, 46. Hit a pocket of lag or two there. Didn't want to fast forward and let you guys miss any action, so.
Based on your time, I should be caught up. 5 minutes, 5:01, 5:02.
Yeah, basically exactly where I am. But Pantheon actually up 33 to 26 in CS now. Nautilus sustaining a little bit with that health relic, but ooh, all comes out from Nautilus. Looks like he wants to go in here, but he's got to be careful. He is very low on health. Just gonna use the ult to poke, I guess. So Q comes out from Pantheon. A lot of damage there. Once again, that Airy procs discontinuing the Airy procs plus the Pantheon spears, just continuing to poke Sparky's Nautilus down. Actually down 11 CS, 12 CS now, 30 to 42.
We have another update for you, a couple. Sol Dante versus Mick Monk has concluded. Sol Dante taking the win and going to round 2 to face off against Solite. And in round 2, Soongale versus Rayken 23. Rayken 23 proceeds to the quarterfinals.
Excellent. Wow, so we're already through with a round 2 game?
We've been through with 3 of them.
Wow.
Well, 4 of them total now.
Cruising through those fast.
Oh yeah. Ulfald's and King Magic Ruler most likely came down to a quick first blood of before they even had 10 CS each.
Wow. Well, that's not happening here, but it is a 21 CS difference. Nautilus still a little low on health. Ooh, kind of going and taking a lot of damage there from the Pantheon. Pantheon Stem comes out. Ignite comes out now. Barrier from Nautilus. Once again, the Ignite is not enough to kill him, but Nautilus very low on health. And the CS lead now getting significant enough. It's actually up to 25 CS. So it's to the point where Sparky knows he has to fight Pantheon, but he's actually a level down. And I don't know if he can possibly win that fight. But it's getting to that point where eventually he knows he's going to have to go in. It's beyond winning through CS at this point.
And there's no way that he's going to be able to push hard enough with Nautilus in order to hit the tower. The only thing Sparky can do is try to get a tower kill. Or
ult comes out from Nautilus. Q comes out. The root Pantheon. His shield is still up. Decent trade for Sparky there. Didn't really lose anything. Got a little bit of poke damage. Ooh, but return from Yasuo. He's jumping in. Gets the airy proc after the stun. And that will drop Sparky to a blinking red health bar.
Pantheon's mana problems is easily cured by the health relics and his mastery that he's taken in order to get that free spell every couple seconds is really, really pressuring Nautilus here.
Good shield from Sparky there on that last javelin to prevent the damage, but you're absolutely right. Pantheon doing fine on mana. Ooh, Q from Nautilus comes out. Getting a trade here. Nautilus shield comes out. Actually, Minion's doing a lot of work there, doing some damage onto Pantheon, who actually is beginning to look a little bit worse. Do you think this is getting to a point, power spike-wise, or something where the Pantheon is doesn't have as strong of that 1v1 potential, Leo?
I don't think so. His Q just hurts way too much based on health. Nautilus being tanky doesn't help that. And Nautilus just doesn't have the damage to keep up. Pantheon has all the poke to annihilate this Nautilus.
Ooh, Pantheon jumped in, but Sparky's still got the health relic, but taking the worst of that trade still.
If it were to go on for too long, there's a possible win here for Nautilus, but there's CS is just Pantheon's not going to give him that chance.
Yeah, only 18 CS left for the Pantheon. You have to assume at this point he's just going to be looking to farm and just win that way, if not take any chances. Nautilus ult comes out once again, but no real follow-up, just kind of using it to poke a little bit. Pantheon Javelin comes out once again. Nautilus never really given a chance to recover much beyond half health. Actually, Q's away there, doesn't land on the wall, but still takes some poke damage from the Nautilus. W comes, or from the Pantheon, sorry. Nautilus W comes out. Pantheon will block a tower shot there. We look at the CS now, actually, just about to bring it up. Yeah, 10 CS until Yasuo's Revenge Pantheon has won. So at this point, Sparky really has to go in. But you look at the health bars, this is just not... It's not a fight he wants to take. Looks like Yasuo's Revenge will just pick up some... health relics to top off there. Only needs 7 CS left. And 3 CS, 2 CS left for Pantheon. He's going to get the win, you have to assume. Nautilus looks like he's going to go in for a trade knowing he has to, but that is 100 CS for the Pantheon. That will be a win for Yasuo's Revenge. I believe Sparky is just not aware of this. Oh, and we may have a kill regardless. The Ignite comes out. They decide to finish off their traditional 1v1, but... GG to both players. That is a win for Yasuo's Revenge. Go ahead and bring up our tourney screen here.
A couple more updates for you. There is an update saying that Variable Sketch has won, but that is more of an accidental button press. Torn Condom has won the match against Variable Sketch and will go on to face Raykin 23. We've also got an update from the other round 1 match that just now finished. CJ Sphinx versus Hunter Vault. Hunter Vault taking the victory, going on to face Blarormer in round 2. And due to Yasuo's Revenge winning this match, he will go on to face Sir Cave. So everyone is done with all their round 1s. We're looking at round 2s to move on to round 3.
Excellent. We'll see if we can get you guys into another match here. But definitely interesting to see. They're our first match that we've caught of the day, to see the Pantheon. Definitely seemed like a fearsome pick. Obviously, he's got the potential to block the tower shots there. It's a pick we've seen be strong in the LCS All-Stars. Definitely seemed pretty difficult to deal with. Not sure if there's any counters you know of AO. Maybe something, if you're expecting a Pantheon, what would you play into that in this situation?
Pantheon can be strong against some people who are auto-attack reliant, but I think someone who can hit from afar, such as Caitlyn. I know I said Pantheon could be great into Caitlyn if Caitlyn gets too close, but I think Caitlyn is a nice matchup against the Pantheon, as it doesn't allow him to as easily farm, and it doesn't allow him to really recover too well. And I think too many people are in the match and need someone to move down to spectators momentarily. But I would probably wager someone like Caitlyn, someone with more burst that's not auto-attack reliant, perhaps maybe even a Zed with his poke.
Could be interesting. Is that always a fun champion to watch, of course?
And we do have a victor immediately out of the gate between Blarormer and Hunter Vault. Hunter Vault taking the win and moving on to round 3 to face Team 2 Good.
Interesting to see. And so we are actually jumping in on a Raykin 23 against Chasio Chung. So this will be our second match of the day. Oh, and we are into Champion Select. I'll go ahead and bring that up for you guys. So this time looks fairly quick. Actually, Vladimir already locked in for Cha and Urgot being hovered by Raycan. We'll see.
Urgot is a very interesting champion. Another good one for these 1v1s because he's got a lot of poke and he's very hard to deal with. Vladimir, in the same sense, has plenty of ability to farm. He's not going for that early kill. He's going for that kind of farm-centric lane. So I can imagine that this Vladimir is not worried about getting that first blood or being first blooded. His pool is such an easy escape. He's just looking to play the farm game, not even looking to take the tower, as Vladimir doesn't have that good of early game push to come through. And Urgot, most likely picking Urgot in order to go for that first blood kill. So I think we're seeing two different strategies here.
Interesting. And once again, we're seeing Ignite up against Barrier. So, definitely interesting to see the same Summoner Spell matchups. And once again, kind of a traditional top lane matchup. I mean, obviously we see Vlad mid as well, but once again, seeing two top lane centric kind of champions matched up here. So I'm eager to see as well. Curious in some interactions as well. I mean, if the Urgot ult comes out, can Vladimir like pool out of that, or I suppose he can pool and dodge the initial Urgot ult. We'll see.
If he can time that perfectly, sure, but I don't think he'll because once you get hit by it, you're suppressed, so it's not something you can easily pull. You can just pull out of. We do have some more updates on the tournament here. We have Yasuo's Revenge versus Sir Cave being a very quick one to come out through the gates. Yasuo's Revenge continuing to make his way up through the ladder to face Levine in round 3. And we have Soulite versus Soul Dante, a longer match, finally ending with Soul Dante taking that victory.
Ah, I see. So Soulite actually will lose. And now, if you're not familiar, Eohdorr here was the champion of our Yule 1v1, but the runner-up was Soulite. He actually went all the way to the finals there, so we were definitely curious to watch his journey, but it looks like it has come to an end, unfortunately. But we're only 45.
More fortunate, if you're looking to see someone else hit that spot.
Very true, very true. But we are only about 30 seconds away from our spectator delay here before we get into this Urgot-Vladimir matchup. Eager to see how that will develop.
So we finally got 8 people down to 8 people in this tournament. All of them are in round 3 right now. Hunter Vault versus Team Too Good. Torn Condom versus Raykin 23, as we're looking right here. Soul Dante versus Ulfald. And Yasuo's Revenge versus Levine.
Excellent. Well, we'll be eagerly awaiting news of that as we check into our match here. Spectator delay is up, so we will get a chance to see some keystones at least while we wait to load into the game. Should see those in just a second here.
Kleptomancy on Vladimir.
Very interesting. What do you make of that?
Definitely not something I expected to see here.
Certainly.
I don't know how to think about it as a real keystone to take on Vladimir, because he has to. It's Klepto works is you have to auto attack them after casting a spell on them, right? Or is it just casting a spell on them?
I believe it's just casting a spell on them. Although, to be honest, I'm not entirely certain. I mean, I know it's taken on Ilaoi, for example, and I'm not sure that her W counts as anything more. I suppose it's an empowered auto attack, much like the Gangplank Q. So I'm not entirely sure how that works on the Vlad. I suppose I'd hazard a guess that his Q would proc it, but I suppose we'll see, won't we?
After using an ability, your next basic attack within 10 seconds is enchanted, so it is...
it's basic.
Next auto attack.
Interesting. So that makes it a very interesting choice on Vladimir.
By the way, I'm at 1 minute, 101, 102.
Yeah, I'm significantly behind. 58, 59, right. 1 minute. Hit a bit of lag there. So Vladimir getting the worst of this trade to start with. He's going to burn up some pots. He actually started the Ninja Tab Eyes and 5 pots, I believe, with the stopwatch. Meanwhile, we've got Urgot with the Guardian's Hammer and a Longsword and 2 pots, which I believe was exactly what our Pantheon started in the last matchup. Ooh, big trade coming in there from the Urgot. Vlad will pull out but lose more than half his health bar here. Gets the Empowered Q off to heal up a little bit. It has to burn another pot there. Ooh.
We do have another update for everybody. Ulfald versus Sol Dante. Ulfald takes the victory and moves on to face the winner of Yasuo's Revenge versus Levine.
Congratulations to Ulfald there. So Vladimir healing up pretty well, but he has used 3 of those 5 pots. So definitely a matchup that... Ooh! Good engage from Urgot. Getting a ton of damage down to Vladimir. I'm not sure if he's going to pull out here or look to trade back, but loses about 2/3 of his health bar right there. It looks like he's trying to get a little bit more return damage on the Urgot, but he's got to be so careful. He's now burned all of his pots and is at about 20% health. He'll go back and pick up that health relic. But so far, Vladimir really getting the worst side of this matchup. Actually out-CSing the Urgot, but that may not be Raiken's goal to win via CS. We'll see. All right, now that things are evening up, actually, about even in CS at this point. A little bit of poke damage from the Vladimir there.
Nice dodge.
Ooh. Yes, excellent pull there from the Vlad. Dodge. The Urgot engage. Trying to return there with the Tides of Blood. Won't happen. Ooh. Excellent cues there from Urgot. Just getting a ton of damage and landing him basically every time on the Vlad. And actually, both players have burned all of their potions at this point. But worth noting that, of course, Urgot will have 10% lifesteal from that Guardian's Hammer. So he'll be able to heal up just fine. Also worth checking out, Vladimir actually has the stopwatch, but it won't be active for another 2.5 minutes, I believe. So we'll see if that winds up coming in handy. Could be good if that Urgot ult lands on him, or to dodge the Urgot ult in case his pool is down. Comet doing some good extra poke damage for Raiken's Urgot there. But actually, the Urgot getting the better of the CS matchup right now, 28-24, 28-25. Still very even. This isn't a case of one player pulling ahead. Vladimir kites back there. Decent trade for him. Urgot taking some damage from those minions. Definitely could be problematic for Raiken as he sees this Vladimir just continue to sustain up. He does have the lifesteal, as we mentioned. Once again, the cues from Vladimir, though. I'm actually not certain that Vlad has gotten a single proc of that Kleptomancy, though. The ult comes out from Vladimir, actually. I'll do a little bit of damage there and heal him up very nicely. Some return damage from Raiken's Urgot. Gotta be careful here. Ooh, a flash from Urgot. The Ignite comes out onto the Vladimir. Flash from Vladimir. Barrier comes out from Vladimir, but Urgot is on the chase. He's running low on mana. Could be really close, but Vladimir is so low, and Urgot will pick up the first blood. So congratulations to Raiken on winning our matchup there. Definitely an exciting one. Absolutely.
So with that done, we now have all the semi-finalists lined up here. We've got Hunter Vault versus Raiken 23 and Ulfald versus Levine.
All right. Well, we will go ahead and jump in. Looks like we have a tournament code here. So, we are into the semifinals. Is that right?
Yep.
All right.
We have 4 contestants left.
Looks like it's actually invalid at the moment. It's likely a full lobby. Let's see if we can get someone to move down spectate. Let us jump in there. But so far, some definitely fun, exciting action. As we've said, a lot of top lane, well, really all top lane type of champions that we've been seeing. So I'm kind of curious if we will see any other types of champions. Ooh, so apparently AO actually they've started. So if you want to spectate Ulffold, I'm going to go ahead and do that.
Gets us in there quicker. We've got 1 minute and 33 seconds left. Caitlyn versus Caitlyn. An exhaust barrier versus a flash barrier.
Actually not letting me spectate Ulf. Unfortunately. Just gonna restart my client real quick.
So, I guess I'll talk about this a little bit then. Caitlyn versus Caitlyn. It could be very awkward having to deal with a mirror matchup especially when it's someone like Caitlyn who can harass from such a far distance that you think she'd be good in almost any one of the 1v1s. It's all about, in my opinion, whoever lands the traps. It's such a small spell to look out for. But I think that'll make or break this matchup. It came down to that when I fought Solite in the final rounds of the Yule tournament.
Interesting. Will be fun to see. Obviously, we were wondering where we're going to see that Caitlyn again. We saw it as a strong pick in the Yule tournaments, like you mentioned, and we are seeing it again. So hopefully I'll be able to get in on that action soon.
He's still having issues with spectating Ulffold?
Yeah, my client. I just restarted my client. I'm going to try it again. My client shows him as in champion select now for some reason.
Yeah. Same thing for me. They definitely have problems loading up if we're not already in there to spectate.
Well, that's no fun.
And op.gg can't get us in there due to the fact that it's not a real game. So it doesn't look like we'll be able to watch this match. It's an unfortunate turn of events that they started so soon.
Yeah, apparently they already finished match 1 and they started match 2. That's why they're in champ select.
Oh, I guess. Well, we could try to see Hunter Vault versus Raken.
Has that started yet, or?
I don't know.
See, working on get you guys some information on that at the moment. Okay, I'm in actually spectating Ulffold now. Spectate actually working. So it looks like this time...
Their match might have ended before the delay had finished, too.
Oh, that
might
could
have
be...
ended before 3 minutes.
Yeah, so these seem to be going pretty fast. But I'm not sure if you're into the lobby or the spectator lobby. Okay. So we've got Caitlyn up against Lucian from Ulfald, and if I'm correct, that was a mirror Caitlyn matchup initially. So still the Caitlyn pick coming in, but now Ulfald switching it up to the Lucian.
Levine taking the win for the first match. So Ulfald trying to find a pick against the Caitlyn. Lucian definitely having a lot more burst than Caitlyn can handle. But Caitlyn having plenty of range on Lucian, making it difficult for him to be able to get in there effectively without just going completely balls deep.
He does have the Flash Villa, which Caitlyn will not have. Actually went with the Exhaust Barrier to Ulfald Solutions Flash Ignite. So it'll be interesting to watch how those summoners work out. From what I've seen so far, the flashes haven't been used for much, aside from, I believe, there was a flash burned almost immediately after one after the other in our first match of the day, the Pantheon Nautilus. But
that's what can be so rough about the taking flash into the 1v1s, is it's all about mobility rather than strict damage or damage reduction like Exhaust, Ignite, or Barrier would be yielding. Caitlyn obviously having the damage edge over Lucian. Should Lucian E in there, the Exhaust could easily hamper all of his damage and throw him into complete disarray, forcing him to flash out, but even then his movement speed will be slowed dramatically. Caitlyn will be able to keep up, and he won't have his in. He will not be able to burst Caitlyn out, especially with the barrier being taken, and the Ignite's not going to do much to mitigate that. I think Caitlyn has the edge here.
Looks that way. We'll have to see. The Spectre delay is up, so we should be getting into the match momentarily. And it's over.
I didn't want to say anything.
Wow. Okay.
It ended like a minute and a half ago.
Well, do we have a winner?
The Caitlyn was triumphant.
I see. Okay, so
pretty much the exact scenario I proposed is most likely what happened.
all right. Well, I do believe we'll get to actually watch a match for you here. I just sent you the code there, AO.
Oh, I wouldn't count on it.
Well, I'm in the lobby, so I'm going to see it at least. I'm going to actually watch some League of Legends today, if it's the last thing I do. I think we are good to go.
Hopefully this lasts longer than 3 minutes.
I hope so, yes. At least we'll actually get to watch it. One would think. Alright, we're into Champion Select here. I'll bring that up for you guys. So, actually, Cassiopeia being hovered and immediately locked in behind her vault with the Flash and the Cleanse. So, definitely fun to see that. That's obviously something we have not seen too much. Well, at all, really, is any type of mid lane champions. We, of course, didn't get a chance to watch the Caitlyn and Caitlyn Lucian matchups, but ADC's there. But Nasus actually being hovered and locked in by Raycades. We'll have a Nasus against a Cassiopeia matchup. And they'll have just 2 seconds or so to lock in their summoner spells and runes and whatnot. But Flash being taken by both players, but Cleanse for Hunter and Ignite from Ray Ken. So interesting. Cleanse able to cleanse the Nasus slow, AO? You think that'll... how integral do you think that will be?
I think that's really nice, especially if Cassiopeia is going to be looking for the farm game or looking to counteract a Pantheon stun or something, but it's definitely an interesting choice. It's not something I would have initially thought of as like a 1v1 style spell. It can cleanse exhaust, which eliminates that factor. It can cleanse ignite, eliminates that factor. Forces the aggressive type of summoner spells out of the fray. So definitely not an unwise decision. And the fact that it's going to help get rid of the Wither, I think this Cassiopeia's got a huge edge over the Nasus. Definitely an interesting decision to pick Nasus, as he's not really known for his early game. In fact, he's got a pretty terrible early game. And the only times that Nasus really ever thrive is the late game due to people being unable to slow down his Q stacking, but it's not like he's strong during those first 5-10 minutes. And without any jungle pressure, the Nasus has no real aid here. I think we're going to see a longer game, but a more one-sided one than we'd hope.
Well, interesting to hear some of the analysis there in the Nasus. Of course, it is one of those champions that we saw in the LCS All-Stars. So, of course, it lost. But it's not to say that Reiken cannot be successful, but we'll be curious to see how it performs here. Of course, the Cassiopeia, getting all the movement speed buffs and having the cleanse to get rid of the Nasus slow, should be able to kite pretty effectively, I would think. So it should be a fun matchup here. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is our first matchup where it's two champions that traditionally go in two different lanes. I suppose Cast Top is somewhat off meta pick. That's played a fair amount, but still, will be fun to see, one of a melee champion, Nasus, kind of a top laner, up against this Cassiopeia, kind of mid lane mage traditionally. So it should be a fun matchup for you guys to watch, and we are about to watch it, I believe.
Here's something.
Spectre.
Oh my goodness! It lasted longer than 3 minutes.
Excellent. So we're actually going to get to see a match. Exactly what I wanted. So we actually get to see the keystones here. Arcane Comet being taken along with Inspiration. There is a secondary tree by Reiken's Nasus, while meanwhile we are getting the Phase Rush from Hunter Vault. And we're all loaded into the game. Real quick, any thoughts on Phase Rush AO? Definitely seems like it's a Cassiopeia type of rune, considering Storm Raider's Surge and the old rune system was such a classic Cassiopeia rune. But a lot of people feeling Phase Rush is pretty weak right now, I think. Do you have any thoughts on it?
I rarely see anyone ever take it. It's kind of like, I can't think of the old keystone, or the old keystone that was like kind of a replacement that was never really used during the last season, but I don't see any real advantage it has over Arcane Comet or Summon Airy. Like, passive attacks and abilities generate stacks on enemy champions, hit up to 1 per attacker cast, and grants you movement speed based on it and slow resistance. The movement speed may be for chasing, but it's often that you can't replace the movement speed for the raw damage that the Arcane Comet and Airy use that makes it more worth, in my opinion. It can be useful to Cassiopeia, a specific champion who chases, but I would believe Electrocute would be far more productive of a keystone due to its just raw burst potential.
So a lot of early poke coming out from those Nasus E's. Going AP Nasus, essentially, he's got the Lost Chapter, which of course will restore his mana every time he levels up, so he gets some sustain mana-wise that way, and he has the 3 Corrupting Potions. Meanwhile, of course, Hunter Vault's Cassiopeia has the Tear of the Goddess along with the Ruby Crystal and 4 pots. Nasus burns one of those Corrupting Potions right now. So far, CS fairly even. We'll see if Hunter can pick up some of this CS under tower. Always challenging to play around the ARAM Howling Abyss turrets, which do some different damage to minions, so it can be a little bit challenging to CS there. But Hunter's Cassiopeia is up in CS a little bit at the moment, 17 to 14 as we speak. Still,
definitely something I forgot to mention, the fact that Nasus can go AP Nasus. It's a lot of tower pressure in itself. Your E does a ton of damage, ton of harass, doesn't cost too much, and it really is something that you could just keep stacking your Q with and get extra damage for. It doesn't hinder you for those early levels. It hinders you late game, but that's not where these 1v1s take place. Ooh.
Oh, we have a flash ult from the Cassiopeia. So much burst damage coming out. Nasus ult comes out. W comes out. Ignite comes out from Nasus, and he'll just walk away from this. E comes out to finish it off. So a very even trade. Flash for Ignite as far as summoner spells. Both ults expended. Still close in CS, but Cassiopeia with a slight edge here. Another Nasus E there, and actually Nasus, after burning another Corrupting Potion, he is doing very well for himself on health. Of course, Nasus with that natural lifesteal as well. Oof. Obviously,
chunk damage from the E is hurting like a truck.
It really is. Getting more levels into that E, it's just making it worse.
Cassiopeia not choosing to cleanse the Ignite, though. That's interesting. Could have saved plenty of damage that Cassiopeia would have received.
Very true. So definitely a tense matchup so far. Cassiopeia with only a very slight CS lead. Ooh, and these E's just always landing from Raiken's Nasus. Definitely problematic for Hunter Vault, but actually has a 5 CS lead now. Do you think that the cast will be looking to kind of play around that and just extend a CS lead?
I don't think Cassiopeia is going to be trying... I mean, Cassiopeia is going to go for harass, but I don't think Cassiopeia is going to be trying to go for specifically the kill victory here. It's a lot easier for her to go for the farm victory, especially considering the fact that her E's are free when she kills CS. It's something she's got to look out for, because she can't go back, and she's got a lot of damage to deal with the SSE. I still have my bets over on Cassiopeia, especially with Nasus constantly taking the healing relics from Cassiopeia's side.
Ooh, so much damage coming out there onto the Cassiopeia, though. He's got to be careful. He's basically just only working... He's pushed under his tower so frequently, he's only working with the single health relic. Ooh, flash comes out from Nasus. E comes out, and that's going to do it! Wow, so the closing damage is enough to finish off the Cassiopeia. So that will be... Congratulations to Raiken on that first win. But we are not done yet, as this is a best of 3. So we'll see who will come out on top in Game 2.
One thing I failed to account for was the fact that Nasus's mana was really well sustained. He almost didn't lose any mana. And he was just able to forever throw out his E.
Yeah, between the Lost Chapter, the Corrupting Potion, and those health relics, he was just able to sustain virtually infinitely. And the poke damage is just too much for the Cassiopeia. Unfortunately, I have received word that Hunter and Raken have already begun their second match.
Rip. I'll have to speculate possibilities. Now I think it's a little like maybe throwing stuff against the wall here, but I think we're focusing on a Vel'Koz and Zilean matchup. I think Vel'Koz definitely has the edge when it comes to it. He's got a lot more poke and got a lot more wave clear. Even if Zilean tries to land that stun, I think Vel'Koz will be playing right within the range that Zilean will be playing around with, and be able to stay mobile enough to keep safe.
Interesting. And did you say who is on the Vel'Koz and who's on the Zilean?
Let's throw the Vel'Koz under the Raken side, and let's throw Zilean under the Hunter Vault side.
Oh, this is a made-up scenario. I thought maybe you had somehow discovered who was playing what.
Unfortunately, no. But that's pretty much all we can do until we find out either A, someone's won, or B, there's a round 3.
Well, here's hoping for a round 3 that we will be able to watch.
It's definitely a lot more exciting should we find out that there's another round to play.
Okay, so I have his stream available here. Let me try and get this up for you guys. I'll stream his stream.
And then if you ghost us, you can ghost him.
See if we can get this to work here. Looks like we have a Vladimir against a Mordekaiser matchup here. Definitely an interesting one there. Vladimir starting with the Spectre's Cowl and 4 pots, so obviously different than the Ninja Tabi start we saw before, hoping to get some sustain and some MR against that Mordekaiser's damage.
Also rocking the Arcane Comet and Flash and Heal, just trying to stay a little bit safe.
Indeed.
He has used his Circle ability, which it's ran out, unfortunately.
His E?
Yeah, that's it. That's a pretty low cooldown or timer for being run. Mordekaiser an interesting choice to pick into this. Oh, he's used it again.
Okay, so it's me that is seeing the lag on the stream. It's not the stream.
No, it's you seeing the lag on his stream.
Yeah, I'm getting a ton.
Maybe we'll blink into existence before the final fight occurs. And well, at least there's no in-between action we're missing.
True, true, true.
For the next time that we do this, it may be better for us to pick a side each and just AFK in the base. We'll get live updates as the matches are being played. It'll decrease the spectator. It'll get rid of the spectator delay.
Ooh, so ult's coming out from both champions here. A lot of damage, flashes from both. A lot of return damage from the Vladimir, though. He's getting the better of that trade right now. It's on the chase. And he'll queue back up. Mordekaiser will pick up the health relic. E from Mordekaiser still picking up this shield.
Mordekaiser starting with corrupting potions and a codex. We'll have to confirm with our resident Lord Mord in the future to see if that's what he would start.
Yes. Our Mordekaiser main. We'll see if he approves. Apologies for the lag here, guys. Not quite sure how to remedy that, unfortunately. You're not getting any lag at all, you?
I'm not looking at the stream.
Oh.
I don't have the link.
Oh. It's just Hunter Vault, twitch.tv/HunterVault.
Ah, I see. It's a well-decoded stream. Ho 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 ho. There you go. I'm getting some frame skips, but no spinning circles. So I'm not getting too much lag.
Oh, I'm getting just spinning circles about every 3 seconds. And as soon as I say it, there comes another one.
I don't know Mordekaiser CS because I haven't been watching long, but you can see Vladimir rocking that 72 CS, up 77 for Mordekaiser. Mordekaiser winning by just a small margin.
Okay, you're way ahead of me.
Could be. Depends on what you would consider where you are. And, oh, yeah, I could be ahead of you. Don't worry, I'll wait for your updates.
I just refreshed, and I see Mordekaiser alt killing Vladimir. It's the last frame I see. Okay, so I guess we know the result of that one, at least.
Yeah.
So I believe that sets up our final match, does it not?
Levine versus Raken 23.
All right, I just received the code for the final. Try to get in there. All right, looks like we'll actually be able to watch this one. Ideally. Again, apologies for the technical difficulties on that. Unfortunately, we have not been able to catch the action on a few of these matches, but at least we've been able to see some of them. And we will be able to see the finals. So again, this is actually a best of 5, so we'll see how this goes. And we're into Champion Select. I'll bring it up for you guys. So Levine going with the Caitlyn. Once again, exhaust barrier. Still feeling confident with that pick while Raken is actually hovering a Rise. The Caitlyn is locked in. Flash and Ignite right now, his summoner spells. He's hovering through a few different champions. Now looking at the Syndra. Now the Nasus. Obviously that Nasus was very difficult for the Cassiopeia to deal with, as we saw. Now looking at Camille.
Now looking at Nunu, Oriana, Rengar, Riven, Rise, Shaco, Poppy, Shen.
Looking at a few different options here.
He's not quite sure what he wants.
Pretty deep champion pool, we might say. Back to the Camille, though. He's already hovered this before. Okay, he does lock it in. So, we'll see Camille Flash Ignite against Levine's Caitlyn, who has equipped Exhaust and Barrier. Any thoughts on this matchup? You know, first thoughts, obviously Camille, a melee champion up against Caitlyn, could be difficult, would be my initial thought.
Definitely can be. With the lane being so small, there's a lot more avenues for Camille to jump over to, however. I would probably have to put my money on the Caitlyn. her traps allow her to be extremely safe when Camille jumps out at her. But Camille, with her little rake of poke, along with the jump, if she's able to catch Caitlyn off guard, could be a huge damage spike against the Caitlyn. It's gonna definitely matter how they use their summoners. Once again, the Flash, a little odd choice to me. Especially if you're going to be picking someone as Camille, I would probably run Ignite and Exhaust in order to keep them within your range and to reduce their damage to you. And Ignite to keep the damage rolling. But we're gonna have to see what Camille does with the Flash.
Absolutely. We did see that Nasus Flash come in handy. He had the Flash E onto the Cassiopeia that was enough to finish her off. So we had been saying, okay, how useful is the Flash? But clearly can have some use in certain situations. And of course, with Camille being a melee champion, could be helpful for getting onto the Caitlyn, which is obviously something that Reiken is going to want to do. Could see some sort of E-Flash combos to get that stun, that ult. Do you think this will get to a point where Camille just being in your face with the E, with the ult, with so much damage, and the shield as well, with all of that, just kind of damage potential when she gets on you will be problematic, since Caitlyn has no way to get out of the ult and has no Flash, has only the E to kind of escape those situations?
I don't think it'll be too bad, but it definitely is scary because you can't always have the traps land right on top of you. It's not an instant CC. It's when you place it, you have an entire second that you have to worm around with. So, and preparing the traps ahead of time can easily make the opponent think, all right, well, all I have to do is just go on to you when you step a little bit too far outside those traps. And it kind of easily kills off the...
And the match is over?
Yeah, the match is over. Levine did, in fact, take the win.
Ah, I see.
And this is another thing that we definitely should try the 2v2s for, because not only will it kill the spectator delay, but we'll be able to actually watch how those rounds unfold.
Yeah, it would be nice. Unfortunately, we apologize, but can't bring you guys the action for a lot of these. But at the very least, we'll certainly hold more of these in the future, and we will be able to use this knowledge we've gained to be able to get you live coverage and actual coverage rather than spectator delay followed by instant League client homepage. It's not exactly the most exciting thing, but you to listen to our exciting commentary as we analyze the situation. It's an exercise in imagination, really, because we have the opportunity to just imagine how the matchup might have played out,
This is why I imagine Vel'Koz versus Zillion, because I think that'd be so interesting.
Yes, this could be a regular thing where we just make up champion matchups and pretend there's an actual tournament.
Could do what I did before, create a bot tournament. A tournament of pure 3v3 bots.
You know what? That reminds me of Super Smash Bros. Melee, when you could make like a 64 tournament champion or character tournament, and it'd make it all like level 9 bots, and just watch them slowly inch their way across the bracket until the finals.
You coming?
To what? I don't have a code.
It's the same code.
Oh, okay. Should be able to get you guys in on that in a second.
Oh, that's weird. It says you joined the lobby, yet it also says that you declined.
Yeah, it's not letting me switch to spectate.
Here, leave and then join. There you go. Now I'll pop on down.
Okay.
And let's imagine.
All right. So we will hope that we get to watch a match.
Let's play out a little scenario when it comes down to it first to kind of imagine how it would go.
Indeed. Bringing it to champion select here. So Levine feeling very happy with that Caitlyn. Very interesting to see that, of course, be such a strong pick at our Yule 1v1 about a month and a half back, and now once again still a champion we're seeing carry their way through the semifinals and the finals. So Raken hovering the Nasus. He had the Urgot there for a moment. Again, the Caitlyn already locked in.
The Caitlyn is without bans. It's tough to not want to pick Caitlyn because why not? Because in my opinion, she is one of the strongest 1v1ers out there. If there's no jungle or support to worry about, you have all the range in the world. You have all the poke in the world. You have all the wave clear, all the damage that comes from an AD carry. That it just becomes a problem if you don't pick the right champion to deal with her. And there are right champions to deal with her. You just need to be able to kill her before she becomes an issue. Some champions, such as Zed, seem like good choices. But I find that other champions with just the right amount of poke and the right amount of dominance that an AD carry could bring to a solo 1v1 would be sufficient. So if we think about, you know, the champion possibilities, people like Aurelian's Soul aren't going to work too well because while he's got some great poke and great damage, he doesn't have a high enough damage to deal with the Caitlyn. So someone like Cassiopeia, who really hurts if you stay next to her, which is difficult for Caitlyn to actually stay next to her due to her long range. But due to the movement speed that Cassio would bring, I think Cassiopeia would be a nice matchup into the Caitlyn specifically. Someone like Diana, whose slow is so massive that it cripples the Caitlyn. But I can't see exactly how that outcome would work out. Of course, you got the Echo with the nice burst, but he's more so once you get some items on him. Ezreal. Now, that's an interesting decision. Ezreal's got a lot of the same what Caitlyn brings, and Ezreal's, of course, in my opinion, a strong choice for the 1v1. But, it's tough to land those Qs so much, like, with the small lane that Howling Abyss already brings, that I can't say it would be a stronger pick over Caitlyn, but I definitely say Ezreal's not a bad choice to go into the Caitlyn. Especially since that you can farm from such a safe distance, and you have the damage of a raw AD carry.
Makes sense. Ezreal does seem like a strong pick. Obviously, those Qs can start really dishing out the damage. I mean, if there's one thing that sticks out to me from the previous matches, it's that Nasus E, the AP Nasus poke, was so difficult to deal with. It seems like even as a ranged champion like Caitlyn, if you've got a champion like Ezreal or Nasus that can lay down that poke, could be difficult for even the Caitlyn to deal with. Just too much damage. And we do see Raken bringing out the Nasus. We'll see if he does the old AP Nasus. You have to assume he probably will. So, will be fun to watch.
You know who I didn't think of, but I think he would be pretty good for 1v1s? I think Wukong is not too bad. Now, hear me out on this one. Wukong can go tank or assassin, and I think Wukong's stronger as an assassin during the lane. And what better assassin than someone against, someone who's squishy, such as the Caitlyn AD carry. Caitlyn has that little caliber net, but she'll use it so late that you can use her clone to get out before she can truly escape. And you always pick your engagement with your E. It'll be rough in terms of harass, and definitely rough in terms of trying to make sure you're getting out properly. But I think it could work if you play Wukong right. And with that idea of those early game level 3, which Wukong's damage really spikes at that level 3, that level 3 kind of assassination ideal, you might look towards someone like... Let's see here. I think I'd have to look at... I'd have to look at Quinn.
Both could be strong picks. Obviously, Wukong definitely has some interesting mechanics there. It's his W with a clone. His ability to kind of dodge around skill shots, also get on top of champions so quickly. Again, looking at runes, of course. Nasus with the Arcane Comet we saw Reiken take before, but Fleet Footwork on the Caitlyn, so between that and the Guardian's Hammer lifesteal, she'll sustain up pretty well. Actually looks like she's doing it just fine despite the poke from the Nasus E's, and of course kind of pushing that Nasus under tower at the moment. Takes a bit of damage there, but we'll see. Actually, Nasus taking the Lost Chapter and a Ruby Crystal along with 2 pots, so not the old Corrupting Potion start we saw him take previously. Nasus picking up the Health Relic here. CS still pretty close, but looks like Caitlyn having a slight edge at the moment.
It's kind of curious Caitlyn didn't really damage the tower when she was pushed up to, or when she had pushed up to it already. Denying farm is great, but the tower is another way that you can win, and if you're damaging it along with the minions, especially when someone like Nasus already uses his E on the wave, that's basically saying you have free reign to harass it as much as you desire.
Very true. Would be fun to see a first tower victory. Obviously, we have not seen one yet, and if I'm not mistaken, we did not see one for all of the LCS All-Star 1v1s. So, but of course, like you mentioned, Caitlyn with the opportunity to go for that. Right now, out-CSing the Nasus. The CS lead growing little by little there. Nasus with 24 CS, Caitlyn picking up 25 now. Or sorry, Nasus with 20 CS. 25 to 21 now. So actually, a decent amount of poke damage from the Nasus. Of course, Caitlyn burning up some of those potions. Ooh, and still, always landing those E's. We see Reiken, he's very formidable with that poke damage. Ooh, and the slow comes out from Nasus. See if it goes in. He hits the Q. Caitlyn has the shot. She'll E back. Nasus picks up the relic. And the Ignite comes down onto the Caitlyn, but it will barely not be enough. And the return damage from the Caitlyn is actually nothing to laugh at. So Levine's Caitlyn will go up and pick up the Health Relic. But so far, a very even matchup. Nasus definitely fearsome, and Caitlyn with very few ways to escape that Nasus slow. Doesn't have the Cleanse. Only has the boots and the E. And no flash, of course. Remember, Reiken does still have the flash available. He did use the Ignite. And still that E damage, so much.
Long-range poke is what's winning this for Nasus here. And, of course, the sustain is definitely giving him a huge edge as well. I would imagine that another person such as Syndra or maybe Xerath would also provide a really decent solution to the Caitlyn.
Very true. Definitely some fearsome poke from those champions and some CC abilities. Still, Levine's Caitlyn taking a lot of damage here. Picks up the Relic.
I think the most important thing about the long-range poke is it has to be able to push the wave. Otherwise, Caitlyn won't feel pressured. And Nasus's E most certainly does that with its initial spark of damage. The Xerath and the Syndra also providing some decent damage onto those waves, along with the poke onto the champion.
Very true. So actually, Levine's Caitlyn still with a slight CS lead right now. Only up 2 CS, actually, but still seems to be doing fairly well in the CS department, but having some difficulty sustaining against the Nasus damage. Do we see another E there with the Arcane Comet? Just a lot of damage coming out from the side of Raken's Nasus. Difficult to contend with. Q comes out from Caitlyn. Once again, E comes out from Nasus. Looks like he's thinking about going in here. Dodges the Q from Caitlyn. That will pick up a good amount of CS, but now he'll steal the Relic once again from Caitlyn. Certainly it feels bad for Levine.
It will help if Levine throws out the traps a little bit sooner onto the relic, health relics.
True.
So it'll almost guarantee that the relic will go to them, to Levine, or it'll at least provide enough damage to cancel out the health relic.
Definitely true. We'll see if he makes use of that now. Once again, E damage coming out from Nasus. And actually, even in CS, we'll see how well Levine can CS under the turret here. Of course, as we said, problematic a little bit to CS under these Howling Abyss turrets that do different damage. So Caitlyn up 3 CS right now as those waves crash right around the middle. Good poke damage coming out from the Caitlyn, but Nasus will return with an E. And he's going to take the Relic once again. No trap there to stop him. And actually a pretty slow match so far. No flash. We saw a little bit of... we saw the Ignite come down from Rakan earlier in the match, but no real all-ins used. Ooh, Rakan could be going in here, though. E comes out, Flash comes out, all from Nasus. The Exhaust comes out, the Ignite comes out. Fleet Forward could be enough to heal the Caitlyn. She'll run back to the Health Relic. So
I think that was a big win for Nasus, because it's not about killing Caitlyn, although I'm sure he would have liked to. But it's more about being able to just keep her low, keep her pressured, and allow those E's to just keep stacking up. She doesn't really have much life sustain aside from the relics.
Ooh, and Nasus perhaps considering hitting that tower. Of course, we saw his Q damage do a significant amount of damage. He does take a tower shot there, but feeling pretty good. Nasus actually in the lead for CS right now. Caitlyn's got to be careful of that W from Nasus. He does have no flash or Ignite right now, but she also has no barrier or exhaust. Ooh, and that E damage, not only the initial damage, but the sustained damage if you stand in the E. So difficult to deal with. Nasus will take one tower shot there. 82 to 86 in CS right now. Oh, and the sustained damage from the E is enough. First blood. Raken's Nasus will pick up the kill, and that will even up our series at 1-2-1. So an exciting one there. Unfortunately, I'm getting word that the third match has already begun.
You'll never know the exciting conclusion. However, we will envision a possible scenario using new champions. Let's throw out Rengar versus Kha'Zix. Now, an interesting matchup. You may say they're both terrible at 1v1s, but let me paint the picture for you. All right, let me take you down this.
This isn't a lore off.
Memory lane. The Rengar utilizes the bushes properly. The Kha'Zix, there with that hidden damage from the bushes as well, doesn't get it more than once. The Rengar staying onto the Kha'Zix will have enough burst potential before the Kha'Zix can truly repel. His leap can save him, though. So as Rengar's harassing the Kha'Zix, he just leaps away to the safety of his own tower. Rengar, being the oppressive kitty cat that he is, will take the victory.
I
I could
see.
paint a more vivid picture, but I feel it'd be far more better to know the names of the abilities rather than just saying Rengar E, Rengar Q, Kha'Zix Q, Kha'Zix E.
Yeah, I could see that.
That was exciting.
I could see the Rengar picking up the win.
That was an exciting set of matches that we got to see. An exciting results that we got to hear about.
Well, we may get to see a well, we should get to see a fourth match. Considering it's 1-1, there has to be a fourth match. So with luck, we will be able to watch it. One would hope. At least we got to see that one. That was a fun one to see. Of course, it almost looked like we might come down to a CS win there, but in the end, the Nasus poke and just that ability to chase you down with the W. You know, you always underestimate how much Nasus can just run at you, and when you're slowed that much, the slow is just disgusting. It's just impossible to get away, especially without a flash. Do you think, Ao, that will affect perhaps Levine considering a flash if he's playing a champion, even like Caitlyn, who's basically immobile, only having the E to get away? You think he'll consider a flash, expecting another Nasus type of matchup, perhaps?
Even with all that considered, I don't think so. Because I expect that when someone is going to use Flash, like Nasus did, it is only to get in range to do your stuff. And that's exactly what Nasus needed in order to pull out the win there. Now, could he have done it through Exhaust, through Ghost, through Heal? I don't know why you use Heal. I don't think so, because it telegraphs too much. So it's got to be used as a clutch surprise. I don't expect the surprise to catch another person off guard like that a second time. The Nasus's E is definitely oppressive, but he was hit an awful lot through very little return damage. It is difficult to harass Nasus back after you've taken such a beating. You just think, oh god, I gotta stay back until that E's gone. And when it's gone, you gotta wait for him to be in a right position. And right when he is in a right position, the E will be thrown out. And I think that's what he was trying to do, is he was just waiting around after his E went away. And then right when it came up, he got in range of his opponent's abilities. And it misled them into harassing to the point where eventually they stopped trying to. But I think if you're going to face a Nasus with something like a Caitlyn, I think what you want to try to do is pick up some lifesteal in your build. Because Nasus's lifesteal is going to be so oppressive that if you don't have it yourself, it's going to be a big problem.
Absolutely. Definitely curious if we'll see the Caitlyn pick disappear. We obviously saw Levine. Seems to be a comfort pick, or at least one that he feels is very strong in this situation. But obviously, the loss there to that Nasus, you know, if you're Levine, would that give you some second thoughts? Are you thinking, okay, maybe Caitlyn's not the best pick, or do you think it was just the way he played the matchup that kind of gave him that result?
I think it's difficult to say that Caitlyn was the specific problem of it, but I don't see any because Nasus is surprisingly a strong pick. I don't really think about it that much, as Nasus is usually such a weak early laner, but if he does go AP, which is usually what they do on the Howling Abyss, if he goes AP like he did in that last matchup and the previous matchups before, I think a good way to counteract it is to have more sustain or just burst. So I would bank on someone such as maybe even a Xerath poke or a Syndra poke, or if we were to stay in the realm of AD carries, an Ezreal or Caitlyn still being a decent option against it. But if you're not going to go for that sustained poke and try to mitigate that damage, I would say I would bank on someone like a Zed or even someone along the lines of, and I know this is kind of weird to say, but someone along the lines of a Tryndamere.
Could be interesting. Of course, Tryndamere and Zed, both fun champions to watch, in my opinion. We will see who we get. I'll actually see if I can't tune into Hunter's stream here and catch a bit of the action there. Fortunately, he is not live, so sadly we will not see what kind of matchup we're getting in that third game. Oh, that's right. It was Hunter's stream that we were watching. My mistake. So, of course, not being streamed there.
We can still watch, believe, and imagine.
All right. Looks like the lobby is up, AO, if you want to hop in. This will be game 4, though I am not aware of who won.
Raykin23 has claimed yet another victory against the Levinus Levine.
Do we have the champion picks available? Are those listed on Battlefy?
Absolutely not.
Well, okay.
The matches are left before they're continued, so none of the matches are technically recorded. So none of the matches finished. So
we have no statistics at all.
Yeah, we can't even just know like how many people picked what. Like there will be not a single statistic provided for this tournament unless the players all announce exactly how the games won, which I highly doubt will happen.
That's too bad. So
it is why I asked if there would be a tournament code, due to the fact that the matches won't really matter.
True. So Raycan actually hovered the Nami, the Nasus, and now the Syndra. So we'll see. Of course, we are ticking down in Champion Select here. Only 20 seconds left. Now the Aurelia being hovered by Raycan. Still nobody for Levine, but we're seeing the same summoner spells. The Barrier Exhaust for Levine, the Flash Ignite for Raycan. Looks like he's going to lock in the Caitlyn once again, so feeling like that's a strong pick. He just perhaps didn't play the matchup quite well. Was very close. But the Aurelia being locked in for Raycan.
I can't really see an AP Aurelia working out or a tank Aurelia working out. I can only imagine that the Aurelia is going to be trying to go for a Sheen for a first item along with boots, if you can afford that. Actually, I don't think they can, because...
Yeah, you get 1,400, don't you? You could get a boots, Sheen, and one pot, I think. Is that right?
Sheen costs 1,200, doesn't it?
It's 1050, I think.
Oh, then yeah, you should be able to get boots in a pot.
I believe.
But I don't really see Aurelia working out too well. Her E can hurt like a truck if you max it out first as your first sense of burst damage. It's definitely bursty, but I don't see her being able to do enough damage to out-damage the Caitlyn.
Yeah, definitely could be tough for the Aurelia, of course, being in that melee matchup. We saw before, well, we didn't see, but we know it happened. We were told of a Camille versus Caitlyn matchup that the Camille lost. You have to imagine part of the problem was, of course, the poke damage from the Caitlyn, the range advantage, difficult to overcome, of course. We'll see if that becomes a issue here in this match, which we will hopefully be able to see. About a minute 20 left on our spectator delay here. So, kind of curious, what runes do you think the Aurelia might pick up? It definitely seems like a few of these top lane bruisers and just a lot of top lane champions in general are kind of caught in an odd place with Fervor of Battle gone, not quite sure what to take. Do you look at a press the attack, maybe a fleet footwork to sustain, or electrocute perhaps?
On who?
Aurelia?
I would definitely say Electrocute would be a far better spell for what she's trying to do. Maybe Fleet Footwork, but I would probably gamble more on Electrocute.
Definitely seems like Electrocute's a pretty strong rune right now. Well, we only have about 12 seconds until our spectator delay is up, so we will hope desperately to actually get you in on the action. Hope this isn't just a dire conclusion, but worth noting that if Rayken does win this, he'll actually be the champion of the entire first Æsir 1v1. Looks like we will get in on the action, so I'm excited to see that.
And the victor is decided.
Is it?
No.
Oh, okay.
I hope not. It is not. We have at least 3 minutes of action.
So as you predicted, AO, Aurelia picking up the Electrocute there and the Inspiration Tree as a secondary. So no stopwatches, perhaps picking up... looking at a futures market, something like that. It's actually going with the Phage right now. Phage in 3 pots. Meanwhile, Caitlyn actually mixing things up. Oh, no. Looks like Rayken may be reconsidering. He goes with the Guardian's Hammer. Same as Levine, who has the Guardian's Hammer, a dagger in 3 pots. And the Aurelia will actually pick up the hammer and a cloth armor along with 3 pots. So interesting. Going to have a little bit of armor there against the Caitlyn. We'll see how big of a factor that is. Minions, of course, just spawning. We'll see if we get any early action here. Of course, the Caitlyn waiting in the bush. Caitlyn already starting to push that wave. Definitely we saw Caitlyn CSing pretty well in that matchup against the Nasus. Ooh, and looks like that's going to be perfect CS on that first wave. So 6-1 right now. We'll see how Rayken's Aurelia can CS under the tower. Ooh, actually goes in. Stuns the Caitlyn. Ignite comes out on the Aurelia. So much burst damage. Barrier comes out from Levine's Caitlyn. Exhaust comes down from Caitlyn. Ignite is still there. Burning damage. Flash from the Aurelia. So much damage. Caitlyn has no way out of this. But the Aurelia will just back off. Oh, and the Q comes out from Caitlyn. It's almost enough to pick up the kill on Aurelia. She will burn all of the potions, as does Caitlyn. So a really tense fight right there, but neither player able to get the edge and pick up the kill. They'll both just sustain up a little bit here. Fleet Footwork, of course, not Caitlyn's Runestone. Actually picked the Airy, but does have the natural sustain from that Guardian's Hammer, as does the Aurelia. So pretty equal in sustain. With both of them will just go back and pick up those health relics, heal up a bit. But Caitlyn winning in CS 16-4 right now. That area poke damage doing pretty well. Of course, Caitlyn has got to be careful of the Aurelia just jumping in like that. queuing onto her and getting the stun off could be very dangerous. Perhaps the Caitlyn looking at just a CS win right now, do you think, Ale? Judging by how big of a CS deficit they're already building up 2.5 minutes in?
It's going to be rough for Aurelia to win. She doesn't get a strong engage. But we're going to look at Aurelia. She's maxing her W first. Interesting for what I thought she would be trying to go for her E max first. Getting a longer stun duration and longer burst onto the Caitlyn. I imagine that's usually what you're trying to go for as Caitlyn, aside from your other goal being a...
Ooh, I have beach right here. A lot of damage coming from the Aurelia, and it's enough. The auto finishes it off. So that is game. The burst damage with the electrocute from the Aurelia, just too much. Didn't even have the Ignite available that time around. Caitlyn, of course, without the barrier or exhaust available. So Rayken's Aurelia will pick up the win there, and he will win the series. And, of course, with that, because that is the finals, Rayken is our champion, so congratulations to him on winning the first Æsir 1v1. Definitely was a lot of fun to watch. Unfortunately, we missed out on the action on, I think, about half the games. I think we had about a 50% rate, AO. I don't know if you're keeping track, but...
Of the ones that we were able to spectate, we missed out on about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of the, 4 that we witnessed?
5 out of 4? How do we miss out on more games than there were?
No. 5 that we missed, 4 that we witnessed. So I imagine.
I see. Okay.
5 out of 9 that we missed.
Well, not perfect, unfortunately. I do apologize for the technical difficulties, some of the issues we've had here. But thank you everybody for tuning in. We had a lot of fun casting it, and thank you to everybody for participating. Hopefully you had fun, and I'm looking forward to future 1v1 tourneys. We'll look at some ways to, do a better job of making sure we get in on every game next time, and making sure that's coordinated well. So, again, apologies for the difficulties there, but hopefully you enjoyed the cast. And, again, congratulations to Rayken on the win. So he will be the new owner of $10 of RP. So congratulations to him. Any closing thoughts, Sale?
I hate Evelyn.
Classic. Classic closing comment from AO.
Definitely some interesting picks from Rayken. Some odd choices that you wouldn't expect, but going for the unexpected Nasus E harass and the unexpected Aurelia burst that she brings, definitely a good solution to the Caitlyn, someone with a lot of burst, and especially considering that you don't expect that Aurelia to hurt that much because she's an Aurelia.
Absolutely. It was very fun to watch. Obviously, seeing those slow CS wins, maybe not as exciting as seeing the Aurelia bursting the Caitlyn down. Even the AP Nasus was a lot of fun to watch. A little bit scary, perhaps, but fun to see what I would say is a little bit more unconventional picks. Not just grinding out the CS, but actually pulling off the victories, getting those champion kills for the win. So, with that, I believe we're about done here, unless you had anything else to add, AO.
Always remember, Evelyn is a pain. She is blue, therefore ban her.
And yet we did not see an Evelyn in this 1v1, so you must be thrilled.
I am happy. I'm as happy as they come. Maybe that's the real reason I like these 1v1s. Maybe that's the reason I'm a 1v1 fan, is
no
because
Evelyn?
I can never see anyone ever picking Evelyn, ever.
Now be careful, AO. I might find a substitute caster and then enter one of these tourneys and only play Evelyn. Don't give me any ideas. Don't give anybody any ideas, actually. I'm sure we've got a few people considering it.
If you make it to the finals with Evelyn, I will pay you $5 of RP. That is exactly my statement about that.
Huh. Well, it would help if I knew how to play Evelyn. That would be the first step. But for $5, I'll learn any champion. Maybe, not really. Maybe not Singed. But with that, again, congratulations to Ray Ken on picking up the win. We had a lot of fun here casting it. Hope you guys enjoyed playing in it and watching it. And yeah, thanks again, everybody. Thanks to Full Mather and Soullight for organizing it. And yeah, was a ton of fun. I hope you guys tune in for the next one. We will see you guys then.